Hypothyroidism, hypothyroidism. Hey guys, my name is Kandai Conker.
And I'm Sancia Jewel.
Welcome to Sick Faces. This is a project that conceptualizes chronic illness into makeup looks. Today we're speaking about
hypothyroidism. If you want to know more about our project, please description down below. So click and find out all you need to know about our project.
So like I said, today we're talking about hypothyroidism. We're not going to over elaborate. We're just going to go straight into the interview. Thank you for watching. Do all the usual things of subscribing, liking, and commenting.
And stay tuned.
Hey. So today we're talking about Sancia's hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
There we go. That's the word. Try to say that 3 times. Hypothyroidism. And I'm going to start with like some soft balls, Sancia.
Okay.
In your own words, how would you describe hypothyroidism?
Okay, so firstly I'd like to start with saying that your thyroid is actually a gland that's located somewhere here in your throat. I remember the first time I got diagnosed, I thought it was somewhere around here, like around your kidneys.
That's
I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was like an organ that's, because when you go to the doctor and they say it's not functioning properly, I was like, okay, so one of my organs is not functioning properly. But I thought organs as in like organs like down here, but it's actually situated somewhere around here in your throat, and it is a gland. And basically what it is my thyroid gland doesn't function properly and it doesn't produce enough of the thyroid hormone.
Okay. So how does that manifest for you? So what are the symptoms?
So the symptoms are for me mainly is fatigue. I have a very slow metabolism. I sometimes have brain fog, which you might just see within this interview.
We already have the brain fog. brain fog loading.
Yeah, brain fog loading. Yes, I said fatigue, I said slow metabolism, brain fog, and sometimes it has symptoms of depression.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you said yours is mainly
Mine is
fatigue.
mainly fatigue. Yeah, I think that's my biggest hill that I have to conquer on a regular basis.
So, what are the treatments? But before you answer, I want to say that we are not doctors.
Yeah.
Okay, so whatever we say here about treatment and stuff is very specific to like the person that's sitting here, and not by any means like WebMD. Don't now go and be like, I'm so fatigued, I must have like hypothyroidism.
Yeah.
And don't now go and do the treatments that Sancia does. But just for interest's sake, to like make this a holistic thing, how do you then treat the condition?
So I take a tablet, so it's 2 little tablets, and my dosage is 75, I think it's milligrams, and I take that every morning. I have to take it. I kind of don't have a choice, and I've got to take it before meals and preferably wait 45 to an hour before I eat any meals for it to properly I suppose activate.
Okay, so 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah, so take it and then I gotta wait 45 minutes to an hour to then eat something.
So does this mean you wake up like super early, or do you skip breakfast? Like what? Do you skip breakfast? Do you like?
No, I have to have breakfast because then I get grumpy. So I try my best to wake up early and like take it, but I mean some days it just doesn't happen. And sometimes the 45 minutes becomes a half an hour wait, sometimes 20 minutes, just depending on the day and what the day is looking like and if I actually have time.
Okay. So when were you diagnosed with the illness? What got you to the doctor's office to then get this diagnosis? Oh, so those are 2 questions, sorry. When were you diagnosed? 1.
Yeah.
2, what was the inciting event that led you to the doctor's office to then get the diagnosis?
Okay, so I'll start with the second one first.
Okay.
So what led me to actually go and get a blood test done was my mom, because she also has an underactive thyroid, which is also known as hypothyroidism. She has it, and she was like, you have the symptoms, you should go for a blood test. And I put it off for a while, and then eventually she was like, no, you gotta go. So I did. It was quite a lot of like different tests that they had to like test for, and then obviously the results came back positive for hypothyroidism. And yeah, and then I had to go and see I think it's called an endocrinologist, and then he then gave me like my dosage of my medication and stuff. And I think at the time I was I was 20 years old, so I think I was in like second year uni, so around 2021 maybe.
So what was your reaction? And this could be like emotional, like what was your reaction to the diagnosis?
At the time, I mean, I was young and the symptoms weren't that bad, so I didn't have much of a reaction. It was just a thing of like, oh, okay, this is it. I'm gonna take a little like pill in the morning and life will continue.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, I'm diagnosed, at least I know about it now. I'll take the pill, everything's gonna be fine. So I wouldn't say I was sad. Maybe I was just, I wouldn't say annoyed either. I was indifferent, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, so I didn't have much of a reaction. Yeah.
Okay, but in that you said you thought, so which makes me want to question, like, was there a point then where you were like, perhaps did have a strong reaction to it after that? So you get the diagnosis, you're kind of indifferent, you thought it would just be take one pill a day.
Yeah.
What did it end up being like? So what is your like day-to-day experience, or what was it that was like, actually this is not just a one pill a day?
Yeah. So like as the years went on, the symptoms became a little bit more known. Like I could kind of like pick it up more, and the pill just, I mean, it was helping on like a day-to-day basis, but it wasn't doing everything. So I would still feel super tired. I would still feel just like lethargic and like, you know, just like I'd probably not eat sometimes and just constantly feel full, or just have my weight fluctuating. And then I realized that it has to be a pill and a bunch of vitamins. Vitamins.
Tomatoes, tomatoes.
Yeah. So, and that's actually more of like a recent discovery for me.
How recent?
Like lockdown. Recent. Like 2020 made me realize things. I think also because, like, you know, when you get caught up in life and like you realize that like you have these symptoms and you kind of like push it to the side, or you're like, okay, well, realize that things just need to get done.
Okay.
And so like even if you're feeling tired, you kind of just have to like push through, or however you're feeling, you need to push through. And I think 2020 I had time to kind of think of all these symptoms that I was having, and I had time to also research, and also everyone went crazy and started buying vitamins. So I was like, okay, these are also things that I need to take because of COVID as well, and because of my illness. So yeah, and then I started taking it, and I started noticing like little small changes, like not feeling as tired when I wake up, or, you know, having like better days.
Okay. Speaking of better days, can I ask what, if you can remember like a specific bad day, like your worst day because of the condition? Is there like an example, experience, a day you can remember where you're like, bleep, this is not cool?
Yeah, I wouldn't say one specific day, but maybe like one like reoccurring experience.
Okay.
And that would be in the workspace.
Okay.
And like I wake up sometimes and I just feel tired, like I have just done the most. And I have just woken up. And sometimes it takes me like a few hours for me to like start to feel like, okay, like the tiredness kind of like disappears. And I suppose that's just like my pull kicking in and like saying,
okay, it's like you're up now.
I'm up now, I'm ready. But sometimes it's not as immediate as I would expect it to be. So sometimes if I wake up at like 6, it might just kick in at around 9 or 10.
Okay.
So from like 6 till 9, 10, I'm still feeling very, very tired. And in the workplace where people want you to constantly be doing stuff and like on the ball, and for me it feels like I'm doing a lot, but to another person it looks like, well, she's barely doing anything.
Okay.
And I guess it's because they don't understand that I'm like legit feeling so tired. And it's not even because I went to bed late or anything. I got a full 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Do you get tired of telling people you're tired, or do you not bother at all to tell people?
I think
like,
sometimes I don't bother to tell people I'm tired.
Okay.
I just keep it going.
So you don't disclose your condition to many people. You don't be like, hey, actually, I have this thing, and this is when you. Do you find yourself doing that a lot, or it's like?
I actually don't do that.
Okay.
I should, but I feel like sometimes people like underestimate.
Like they won't understand.
Yeah, like they don't understand, or they just think, okay, like I thought before, I just take a pill and I'll be fine. Like she's not taking her meds or whatever, or she's just making excuses so that she doesn't have to
Work.
And it's not the thing. It's like I want to do stuff, but I just feel tired. So if I might take maybe like 5 more minutes than the normal person. But obviously, like 5 more minutes to another person compared to another person is gonna feel like a huge difference in a workplace.
Okay, that makes sense. So obviously there is the perception that people have of you because of your illness, whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
I want to ask, because now I'm getting to like sort of the crux of this project, is does your illness change the way in which you perceive yourself?
That's a good question. I think yes and no. I think on a good day and because I feel good, I don't think about it as much. But on a bad day, when I'm just like, things just feel like literally being run over by a bus. And that's when like the symptoms of like depressing thoughts kind of like enter your mind. Yeah, so like on a bad day, then yes, I'm like, I don't like this. I wish I could get an operation and it will be fixed.
Okay, I get that. I get it. And actually, the one thing I might be saying to like every person that I'm going to interview is the thing with illness is that like it lives in your body, and essentially you are your body. So it's very difficult to remove yourself from. Some people speak of like their illness very much as like an independent entity, it's like this other thing. But because it's so much a part of you, I'm always interested to like find out what parts do people, what parts of the illness do people take to define themselves, and what parts do they reject. With that, my next question would be like, if we had to personify your illness, okay, now your illness is a person on its own. Yeah. What relationship do you think you have with that person, with Mrs. Hypothyroidism? Like, you can even maybe take a trope. Is she like, you know, an enemy? Is she a frenemy? Is she a villain? A hero that made you realize stuff? Like, what is your relationship, would you say, to Mrs.
I would say to Miss Hypothyroidism. I think we're frenemies, and maybe we're low key in like a toxic, you know, those toxic situations where you know you should leave but you stay. It's like, I know you're not good for me, but I'm here. I'm here to work on us.
Okay, yes.
I think that's how I would describe our relationship. I don't hate it. I can't hate her because it's just something that I have to kind of, I don't want to say deal with it, but I have it, and I can't do much about it unless it's like, well, I can't do much about it other than like take my meds, take my vitamins.
Okay.
I can't like rip my throat out and be like, I'm done with you. Yeah, so I think we're frenemies.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I think it would be very like regressive to hate is such a strong thing, and it would be regressive to like your progress and your health to be in that.
And your mental health, because it does take a toll on your mental health. I think all illnesses do at some point.
So, so now you have to go. Actually, before I even get to that, Sancia is a makeup artist. She's an artist, and now you have Mrs. Hypo, right? She wants to look.
Yeah.
So we need to conceptualize this, like with everything that you've said about the symptoms, the treatments, your experience, your perception of the illness, as well as yourself.
Yeah.
You need to now give this illness a look. What colors or themes or like, especially since you're a makeup artist, I'm pretty sure like this was a funny exercise for you. Like, what did you like? What do you envision your illness to look like?
So I think with colors, I envision like grays, black, like deep plum purple,
Burgundy.
Yeah, burgundy. Almost to like represent the feeling of constantly feeling tired. So those are like quite drab colors. It's not like fun colors. It's also like deemed as dull and not like, you know,
upbeat,
bright and like, you know, here, but it's also like, you know, like when you're tired and your eyes get like dark circles and stuff, the undertones for those dark circles are like purples, like deep, almost gray, like blues. So it kind of represents that feeling of feeling tired.
Okay. So you wanted to, in the look that you guys are going to be able to see, you wanted to depict like the fatigue, like mostly the fatigue of the illness.
Yeah.
And the drabness.
And the drabness, but also making it seem powerful in a way.
Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting. You're gonna have to unpack that a little bit. Why?
The look that I have planned is that I'm going to use gray and purple and maybe a little bit of black. So underneath here, which is going to be like super like heavy, but taking that and putting it like in my little inner corner of my eye, and it just like when you do that, it obviously like creates more of like, it brings your eyes more in, and it's just more like striking. So it's kind of showing like the power that she has.
Because that's such an interesting thing, because the adjective powerful hasn't come up with the illness.
Yeah.
So why that little bit of element? So you have the drab and the dark and the tired. Why that element? Is the powerful you seeping out of the illness? Like what? Where did that angle come from?
I think it's a bit of both. So it's me trying to like take a hold of my illness and say, I'm to conquer as much as I can, but also like showing the power that the illness does have in my life.
Oh, that is so intriguing. Okay, so I don't do makeup. So the next segment, we're going to get into the makeup, and then Sancia's going to do all the descriptions and yada 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 yada, and then you'll be able to see what's her perception or what we conceptualize for hypothyroidism specifically to her. So yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd like to see how the makeup was done and the final makeup look, please head over to Sancia Jewel's YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you for the next episode of Sick Faces.